Shocking confession, Bill Spencer discovers he's the father, not the grandfather. The walls of Los Angeles are about to crumble as one of the most twisted revelations in Bold and the Beautiful history comes to light. Luna Nozawa, the woman who has manipulated, deceived, and terrorized the Spencer family, is about to drop a bombshell that will shatter everything Bill Spencer thought he knew about his grandchild. In a stunning turn of events that will leave viewers breathless, Luna reveals to Bill that she orchestrated a plan so diabolical, so calculated, that even for someone with her dark history, it crosses into uncharted territory. The child growing inside her isn't Will Spencer's biological offspring, it's Bill's. Luna confesses that before her calculated night with Will, she secretly stole Bill's sperm from the hospital where Lee Finnegan works, using it to ensure her pregnancy would tie her to the Spencer empire forever. The DNA test that confirmed Will as the father was technically accurate. Both Bill and Will share overlapping Spencer DNA, but it failed to detect the crucial difference that only a specialized paternity test between father and son would reveal. Luna's scheme exploited a well-known gap in standard DNA testing. When potential fathers are biologically related as closely as parent and child, basic paternity tests cannot always distinguish between them. The baby carries Spencer genes, making the test results positive, but the biological father is actually Bill himself. The hospital heist, how Luna executed her plan. The pieces of Luna's elaborate puzzle begin falling into place as details emerge about her access to Lee Finnegan's workplace. Lee, who has already compromised her medical ethics multiple times to protect family members, including faking Luna's death and smuggling her from the hospital, had unwittingly left the door open for Luna's most audacious crime. Sources suggest that Luna may have obtained Lee's hospital identification badge during one of her earlier schemes, allowing her unauthorized access to secure medical facilities. Bold and Beautiful spoilers indicate that Luna used this stolen access to infiltrate the hospital's fertility storage areas, locating and extracting Bill Spencer's genetic material. Her plan was methodical. If she became pregnant with Bill's child rather than Will's, the baby would still test positive for Spencer DNA, but she would forever be connected to the family patriarch himself, a far more powerful position than being merely the mother of Bill's grandchild. The revelation destroys the careful narrative Luna had constructed. She never actually slept with Will in the conventional sense that would result in his biological child. Instead, she drugged Will, staged an encounter to make him believe they had been intimate, and then used Bill's stolen sperm through artificial insemination to guarantee her pregnancy. This makes her crime even more disturbing. Not only did she sexually assault Will and violate his consent, but she also violated Bill's bodily autonomy by stealing and using his genetic material without permission. Bill's devastating realization. When Luna finally confesses the truth to Bill, the weight of her betrayal crashes down on him like a tidal wave. Bill Spencer, the man who has faced down corporate rivals, family betrayals, and even contemplated murder to protect his loved ones, finds himself in a position he never imagined. He is not the grandfather of a troubled young woman's child, but the biological father. The realization is shattering on multiple levels. Bill had already struggled with conflicting emotions about Luna. Despite her crimes, the murders of Tom Starr and Hollis, her kidnapping attempts, her shooting of both Sheila and Liam, and now her sexual assault of Will, Bill had maintained a complicated soft spot for the young woman he once believed was his daughter. He had even used his considerable wealth and connections to secure her release from prison once before, believing she could be rehabilitated. But this revelation changes everything. Bill is not helping his son navigate an unwanted pregnancy with a dangerous woman. He is now personally, biologically tied to Luna forever. The child she carries is his own flesh and blood, his son or daughter, not his grandchild. At his age, Bill never anticipated becoming a father again, and certainly not under these horrifying circumstances. The emotional impact on Bill cannot be overstated. This is a man who takes family seriously, who has fought fiercely for his children's well-being, who has tried to be a better father than his own complicated relationship with his father allowed. Now he must confront the reality that he has been violated, used, and manipulated into biological fatherhood by a serial killer he once tried to protect. Katie and Will's horror. The fallout extends far beyond Bill's personal trauma. Katie Logan, Bill's ex-wife and the mother of Will Spencer, will be absolutely horrified when she learns the truth. Katie had already been struggling to help her son navigate the nightmare of Luna's pregnancy, working with Bill to plan for custody of what they believed was their grandchild. She had been a pillar of support, assuring Will that they would handle the situation together as a family. But this revelation fundamentally alters the family dynamics. The child isn't Will's responsibility at all, he has no biological connection to the baby. The relief Will might feel at this discovery will be tempered by the horror of understanding just how deeply Luna's manipulation ran. He wasn't just sexually assaulted, he was used as a cover for Luna's theft of his father's genetic material. The psychological trauma of realizing he was a pawn in such an elaborate and twisted scheme will require serious counseling and support. Katie's relationship with Bill, which has always been complicated and filled with both deep love and painful separations, faces yet another impossible challenge. How does she support Bill through discovering he's been forced into fatherhood with a woman who has terrorized their family? How does she help Will process the relief of not being a biological father while dealing with the trauma of what Luna did to him? The woman who has always been Bill's moral compass now must navigate waters darker than any they've faced before. For Will, the emotional whiplash will be tremendous. On one hand, he's free from the lifelong connection to Luna that fatherhood would have created. He won't have to share custody with a convicted murderer, won't have to explain to his children someday why their mother is in prison, won't have to watch Luna use his child as leverage for the rest of his life. His relationship with Electra Forrester, which has been strained to the breaking point by Luna's pregnancy, suddenly has a chance to recover. But the relief comes with its own darkness. Will must live with the knowledge that his father, his own dad, is now in the position Will thought he himself occupied. The guilt, the confusion, the anger at Luna for putting his family through this nightmare will be overwhelming. Will may even struggle with misplaced guilt, wondering if there was something more he could have done to stop Luna before she escalated to this level of violation. Steffi's rage, a new weapon for Luna. If the revelation devastates the Spencer family, it sends Steffi Forrester into an absolute fury. Steffi has already survived 2 attempts on her life by Luna, the kidnapping and attempted murder at the demolition site, and the shooting incident that nearly killed both her and Liam. She has been vocal and insistent that Luna must remain behind bars for the rest of her life, vowing to do everything in her power to ensure the killer never walks free again. But Luna's pregnancy with Bill's child changes the power dynamic dramatically. Bill Spencer, despite all his flaws and questionable decisions, wields enormous power in Los Angeles. His wealth, his connections, his media empire, and his willingness to bend rules for family make him one of the most formidable figures in the city. If Luna is carrying his biological child, she now has the ultimate leverage over him. Luna can threaten Bill in ways that cut deeper than any financial or legal pressure. She can threaten to harm the baby, to seek an abortion, to ensure Bill never has a relationship with his child unless he uses his power to free her from prison. She can dangle the promise of letting Bill be involved in his child's life in exchange for house arrest at the Spencer mansion, or pardons, or legal manipulations that keep her out of jail. Steffi understands this dynamic all too well. She has watched Bill make questionable decisions in the past when family is involved. She witnessed him secure Luna's release from prison once before, falling for her manipulative act of being beaten by other inmates. Now, with an actual biological child at stake, Steffi knows Bill will be even more vulnerable to Luna's machinations. The thought of Luna using this baby to blackmail her way out of consequences for attempted murder fills Steffi with rage and terror. From Steffi's perspective, Luna now has the perfect weapon. Every time Bill considers letting Luna face full justice for her crimes, Luna can remind him that his child, his own flesh and blood, will grow up without a father if she remains in prison. She can paint herself as a victim of circumstance, a troubled young woman who made terrible mistakes but who deserves a chance to be a mother to Bill's child. She can manipulate Bill's protective instincts, his desire to be a good father, his fear of abandoning another child. Steffi will not stand for it. She has already declared war on Luna, promising that she will dedicate herself to keeping the killer locked away. But fighting Luna is one thing, fighting Luna when she has Bill Spencer's biological child as a bargaining chip is another entirely. Steffi will find herself in the difficult position of opposing Bill, a man her father Ridge respects, a man who has business connections with Forrester Creations, while trying to protect herself and her family from Luna's continued threats. The tension between Steffi and Bill over Luna's fate will likely create rifts throughout Los Angeles society. Finn, Steffi's husband and Luna's biological father through his connection to Sheila Carter, will be caught in the middle once again. He has already struggled with the complex emotions of having Luna as his daughter, of wanting to believe in her redemption while recognizing her dangerous nature. Now, with Luna pregnant by his wife's business associate, Finn faces yet another impossible family dynamic. The legal and ethical nightmare. Beyond the personal devastation, Luna's confession opens up a staggering array of legal and ethical issues. The theft and unauthorized use of genetic material is a serious crime, one that carries significant legal penalties. Bill will have grounds to press charges against Luna for theft, for reproductive coercion, for violating his bodily autonomy and consent. These charges would be in addition to her existing convictions for murder, kidnapping, attempted murder, and sexual assault. But here's where Luna's twisted genius becomes apparent: she's already facing life in prison for her other crimes. Additional charges for stealing Bill's sperm don't meaningfully change her legal jeopardy. What they do change is Bill's relationship to the situation. As the biological father of her child, Bill now has parental rights and responsibilities. He can't simply walk away and let the state handle Luna's offspring as he might have if the child were truly Will's. Luna knows that Bill Spencer, for all his ruthlessness in business, has a soft spot for his children. She's counting on his inability to abandon his own flesh and blood, even when that child was conceived through such horrific means. She's betting that Bill's protective instincts, the same instincts that made him try to help her before, will override his anger and disgust at what she's done. The legal complications extend to the question of custody and parental rights. Can Luna, as a convicted murderer serving a life sentence, maintain parental rights to her child? Can Bill seek sole custody? What role, if any, will the child have with Luna? These questions will consume the Spencer family and their attorneys for months to come. There are also profound questions about Lee Finnegan's culpability in all of this. If Luna used Lee's hospital access to steal Bill's genetic material, did Lee know? Was she complicit? Lee has already faced scrutiny for her questionable decisions regarding Luna, including faking her death and smuggling her from the hospital. If it's discovered that her negligence or active participation enabled Luna's theft of Bill's sperm, Lee could lose her medical license and face criminal charges. The scandal would destroy her career and further strain her already complicated relationships with both Finn and Steffi. As Bill Spencer processes Luna's confession, he faces impossible choices. Does he press forward with criminal charges, ensuring Luna pays the full price for her violations even if it means his child grows up knowing their mother is in prison for horrific crimes? Does he attempt to seek custody, taking on the responsibility of raising a child conceived through such traumatic circumstances? How does he explain to his other children, Wyatt, Liam, and Will, that they have a new sibling born from one of the darkest chapters of his life? The psychological impact on Bill cannot be understated. This is a man who prides himself on control, on being able to navigate any business deal, any family crisis, any personal challenge. Luna has stripped away that control entirely. She has turned him into a victim, forced him into biological fatherhood against his will, and created a connection between them that will last for the rest of his life regardless of what legal consequences she faces. Katie will need to dig deep to find the compassion and strength to support Bill through this nightmare, even as their relationship faces yet another devastating blow. Will must find a way to move forward, to reclaim his life and his relationship with Elektra, while carrying the knowledge of what Luna did to both him and his father. The entire Spencer family will need therapy, legal counsel, and time to heal from wounds that may never fully close. And Luna? She sits in her prison cell, her twisted plan having succeeded in ways that guarantee the Spencers can never truly be free of her. Whether she remains behind bars or manages to manipulate her way into house arrest or eventual release, she has forever altered the Spencer family tree. The child she carries, Bill's son or daughter, will be a constant reminder of her capacity for manipulation and violation. This storyline pushes the boundaries of soap opera drama into genuinely dark territory, exploring themes of consent, bodily autonomy, and the lasting trauma of manipulation. Luna Nozawa has proven herself to be one of the most disturbing villains in Bold and the Beautiful history, and her final revelation cements her legacy as a character whose actions will reverberate through Los Angeles for years to come. As Bill Spencer stares at the woman who has destroyed any peace his family might have found, he must confront an unbearable truth: he is not the grandfather. He is the father. And nothing will ever be the same again.